Hey guys, Brian with Wrenches and Rides, and if you have a RZR Pro XP and you're looking at putting on either the Polaris tree kickers or the Polaris low profile rock sliders, or maybe even some of the aftermarket kits out there, you're going to find there's a little bit of a different way that these guys are going to attach. The hardware that comes with it that's going to go in each of the holes is pretty simple. It's just going to be a bolt, a washer, and then you have basically a pressure fitting that's going to go in here. You're going to have to thread the bolts through. We'll go through that later, but it's just going to fit together nice, and then you're going to slide it into a tube. These two guys are going to push together, put pressure on that tube, and hold this rock slider in place. Very interesting. Now read the instructions on this because it is simple, but you want to make sure that you do not put these on at any more than 20 foot-pounds. So you're going to need to have some sort of torque wrench there to make sure. This is just a simple 13mm bolt. This is really an easy installation. It's just tedious getting everything to line up. So when you're looking at this, basically here we have the Polaris premium rock sliders, which I think are more tree kickers. When we look at this, you can get them in multiple different colors. They came packaged nice. You may hear stuff sliding around on the inside of them. That's fairly normal. To get this set to install on the machine, you're going to want to have a deep well socket set and ready to go. You put your socket and bolt and washer together. Slide these guys through. This is pretty much the hardest part of the whole installation, especially if you're doing it by yourself. You got to get this bolt, especially this one, because there's a little ledge. Once the bolt is through, you slide on the non-threaded portion of the pressure kind of bolt, nut, and then you want to screw them together just enough so that it leaves you a good amount of space, but that you don't have too much slack that you can't get this first piece to connect up into the square hole. It makes a lot more sense while you're looking at it, but you need to go through, take care of each one of these, and then we can just slide them on the machine. Once you have all these guys in place, we can start to kind of jimmy this in place and slide it into the holes in the machine. Now, what we want to make sure while we're doing this is that all of these nut certs per se are in all the way. We don't want to tighten anything up until all of them are pushed in completely, and we want to kind of make sure that everything is fitting tight. So you're going to want to take a close look at each one to make sure that the rim in that hole in the frame is lined up perfectly. Notice I am using this impact on low. It's a very small 12-volt impact, great for installations. I can click it on high. Just give it a touch to make sure they're nicely seated in place before we get out our torque wrench. £20 is not a lot. Once you're happy with the torque, you can put the end covers on. These small covers are something that I question long term, because if you ever had to tighten them up, these are going to be a pain to get out. The back one is very simple and it looks good. You can tell it's there. I just have a 15 millimeter here. It's just an impact socket. You can throw this guy in place, tap them in. That's it. Depending where you ride, this is either going to give you a little bit of looks that you're looking for, or it's going to add some protection to your machine. Where we ride in the trails, these premium kickers keep everything out and away from the body, and you can kind of use them to turn on. We're going to see if these are going to hold up to some of the abuse that we would normally put them through. The plastic caps on the back I see as lasting maybe 2-3 trail rides at the most, if they make it through the first one. That's something that I don't think you need. It doesn't add a whole bunch to the looks, and it would have been nice if there would have been a little bit better way of covering this one in the back. Either way, I think we'll figure something out for that one. This is easy. If you find that you might be having trouble getting everything in place, don't tighten the connections up too much. Leave them fairly loose so you can still move them around and get them in place, and don't try to rush it. Don't try to get this done 15 minutes before a ride. That would probably be incredibly frustrating. 20 foot-pounds is not a ton, so get out the torque wrench. Don't rely on an impact like you've seen me do, because if you use one and over torque, it'd be bad, right? You don't want to split that bar open, and you don't want to make it so these don't work. I used a very small impact just to help me get through. I was at 11 foot-pounds per my torque wrench when I actually started tightening them up, so I was nowhere near over torquing. It was perfect. We use tools a lot. If you don't go crazy on it, all right? Simple install. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Give us a like in this video. Hope you enjoyed this. We'll show you how these last up on the trail as soon as we can get out there. As always, thanks for your time. Have a great day.